Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Am I going to have to fight you? A boot or toot?
Boot or toot? The toot and the toot?
I'm making money right now.
The cheese is on the move.
Slightly Unhinged.
Welcome back to Slightly Unhinged. Justin Pavis here, and today I'm joined by an absolute Portland icon. Quesa D'Mondays is the cheesy breezy songstress of Portland, having made a massive splash in a drag scene over the last few years. Quesa is also deeply rooted in community impact, from running food drives to giving lectures on drag history, raising money for local organizations, and working with Oregon's queer youth. Everybody give it up for Quesa D'Mondays.
Hello.
Yes, queen. Welcome.
How many times have you said that? Be honest. It sounded like the first time.
Yeah, actually probably was fucking the first time. I was just thinking, I was like, after you literally asked me, I was like, I don't think I've actually been yes.
Oh my God. It's very funny listening to people who's just like, oh my God, a drag queen's in front of me. Work, love.
Oh my God, we're here.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, no, I am so excited to meet you. This is our first time actually officially meeting.
Yes.
We've been following each other on the socials for a minute, and I'm super stoked that you decided to join the pod. This is going to be a fun episode for Portland, for everybody to get to know you, and I'm just here to have a slightly unhinged moment with you, and we're gonna hang out.
Yeah, 100% unhinged.
100%.
Yeah.
I'm all for unhinged. I named the podcast Slightly because I was like, we're just gonna get slightly unhinged, but I think I just need to rename it to Unhinged,
right?
Because I think the slightly is just starting to become a problem.
I feel like gay people just kind of are unhinged by default,
right?
Just kind of generally, and so to be slightly unhinged is just all like, for gay people, it's like off the rail,
right?
Off the rail moment,
right?
Yeah.
No, 100%. So maybe we're gonna just go and drop this slightly, and we're just gonna go unhinged.
Can you edit that to say fully unhinged?
Fully unhinged.
Work.
For Quesa's episode, we're gonna go fully unhinged. I love that. So first of all, your name is honestly iconic. We have to start there. Honestly, tell me the origin of the story of Quesa.
So. Quesa D'Mondays, you get it, right?
Yeah, 100%.
Right, 100%. So if there's a bell curve with it, when I have friends who I've known since Quesa existed, and like a few months ago, they were like, I just got what your name is, right? And I'm like, Boots. Right? Sounds like you're having a lot of discovery moments in this.
Right.
So obviously, Quesa D'Mondays, I love a pun, lots of queens have pun names, right?
Yeah.
Lots of comedy, lots of funny. I knew that when I started drag, I wanted my name to be like comedic, right?
Sure.
My drag mother, her name's Donatella Nobody. She had a pun name, and so I was like, I have to have something that represents the funniness. And when the first time I was ever getting into drag, my drag mother was putting me in drag. I was doing an audition for a show, which was my whole introduction to doing drag in this sort of, the contemporary style that we do it. And she was putting me in drag for an audition. And I was like, well, what's my name going to be? Do you give it to me? Or do I, do I have to be a nobody? Right. And she's like, we're from the house of nobody. And I'm like, I hate that.
Right.
And she was very, very much like a Star Wars or like a Mufasa Lion King in the thing. She's like, you'll know it when you know it. And I was like, I just want to know.
He was like, give me a name.
Hey, give me a name, right? I was driving to this audition. I was thinking about what I wanted to do, what I was interested in. I'm Mexican. Yeah. My dad's Mexican, and I knew that I wanted it to be something that was like related to my culture, my heritage, and my relationship to my culture is ultimately through food.
Yeah.
I'm a huge foodie, love eating, and I connect to my heritage and my culture through food. And so I just started saying words out loud, edible things in, carnitas, burrito, like what kind of pun can I make out of this? And I just started saying things, and I was just like, quesadilla, quesadilla, and I was like, quesadilla, like I was like, there's something there, right? And I was like, the original name was Quesa like D period Mondays.
Yeah.
And then I add the apostrophe because I was like, that sounds more chic. Quesa
100%.
D'Mondays, right?
Oh my God. I
So
love
you got
it.
a Quesa D'Mondays? You come see me, baby.
Oh my God. I love that. That's amazing.
Thank you.
Definitely a iconic name. So
Thank you.
There it is.
I've gotten that a lot.
I mean, Quesa. I mean, why not? So was it just like the cheese part of it, or was it just because you were going through and you're like, okay, I'm gonna go through and I'm gonna go all through all these different Mexican type dishes, or was it because you love cheese?
Well, I was hungry.
You're hungry.
Absolutely. And I'm also lactose intolerant and I have IBS. So like, I was like, what's the worst possible name that you could give someone who has lactose intolerance? But no, it just sounded fun to me, right? It was just something that I felt was like interesting. Like it's a Q word. I feel like you don't get a lot of Q in like, things. It's also like not a name. Like no one's named Quesa.
No.
Like, and when people get it, when people hear my name, they're like and typing on their phones like, how do I follow you? They type in like Kaysa, and I'm just all like, it's always white people,
right?
And but also there is a queen in LA. Her name is Quesa.
Oh,
and so it's Kay, Sedia or something like that. And I just knew that like it was a fun name. It was an interesting name.
I love that.
And I knew that there was going to be like a marketing potential with like being like, I'm a cheesy queen, right? I'm cheesy, right?
Cheesy.
And I have genuinely incorporated that into my drag. I genuinely do not care looking the fool, like acting a fool, like that's on Drag Race. I act the fool, girl, and I'm like, and I will, and I'm going to.
I love that. Oh my God, that's so good. So, birth of Quesa. What's the origin? When was the birth?
Right. So I have a background in theater.
Yeah.
I did musicals for a long time. I worked in an outdoor Shakespeare company. And this was a show that I was asked to come and audition for Bag and Baggage Productions out in Hillsborough, actually. I used to work there as a marketing manager.
Amazing.
And then after I left, I did other marketing jobs, but I got hired there as an actor for this show called Whose Holiday.
Okay.
Whose Holiday is written by Matthew Lombardo. It's an off-Broadway show. It had Leslie Marguerite, who was in the Matilda musical. So like a well-produced, like a produced show.
Absolutely.
And it's about Cindy Lou Who from The Grinch, who is now 45 years old and living in a trailer park in Whoville, and she got knocked up by the Grinch, and she had his kid, and she went to prison for killing him, and like, so it's a whole thing. See that fully unhinged right there? Fully unhinged.
I was like sitting here going, Cindy Lou, oh my God, I love her.
Yeah,
she just went to a trailer park and she got knocked up by the Grinch.
Yeah, no, and she had she had a kid that's like a Grinch Who hybrid.
Oh God.
And she like loses custody of her because she goes to prison.
Oh my God. Oh, 180 on that one.
So I was asked to come in and audition for this show, and it's a one-person show, and they wanted to do, it's not originally done as a drag show. Like there's not necessarily a drag queen in the role, although it's been famously performed by Ms. Cracker. There's been productions of it, and it just makes sense to do it as a drag show. My friend was directing it, asked me to come and audition. I got the part, and I decided to create my drag persona during that show, even though I didn't really have to. I was like, I'm just going to go along with it and create the name and like have fun with it.
Absolutely.
And after the show was done, the show was so fun. We had a sold out run. It was super exciting.
So
that was the first time I ever like walked in heels consistently. Had like big bunions, like super exciting.
Right.
And I loved it. And frankly, what I loved about it was like it was a one person show. I loved the attention, frankly. And also I really did feel super beautiful, even though I wasn't very good at makeup, and maybe I still am not very good at makeup. You can maybe haters. I know you're out there.
Haters are always out there. Hi haters.
Hi haters. Even though I wasn't necessarily like the best at makeup and I was still learning how to do it, it was fun.
Yeah.
I had so much fun. It felt like very genuinely me. I found like where I was feeling disillusioned in theater, having worked in theater for a long time. We were in a post-COVID world. Yeah. It was really hard to make art. Arts nonprofits were struggling and still are struggling. Yeah. I just was like, I just don't feel like I have the spark for theater anymore. And drag like revived that. I was like, I feel so much joy doing this. And so even after the show closed, I kept all my makeup, I kept my wigs and the dresses and the shoes that I had, and I just continued doing Quesa. I produced my own show, Cabaret Quesa, and then eventually I was getting booked for other things, other shows. I booked myself. I lost my job in July of 2023.
Oh my gosh.
Or July of 2024.
Sure.
And I was like, what am I going to do? I was also very disillusioned with like the art nonprofit industrial complex. I was like, this place has no money. It feels like there's no upward momentum. It just feels like I'm constantly at risk of losing my job. Yeah. And so I was like, I don't really want to go in nonprofit, but it's really hard to transition into anything else.
Sure.
I was a marketer. I did marketing for a long time, photographer, videographer, graphic designer. Like I knew how to promote myself. And so I was like, well, what if I just start doing Quesa? And Quesa became my main form of income, and now has blossomed into like this really beautiful persona, this character that I can put on, but really isn't necessarily like that explicitly that different than who I am as a person. You're not going to get the government name out of me. You're not, but isn't necessarily different that a whole heck of a lot from who I am as a person. It just became like a great vehicle to be able to explore my own gender expression and my most authentic self, which has always been a core tenet of who I am as a person. 100%. But also like, people will listen to me when I'm on a microphone. And if I want to say the things that matter to me and are important to me and 100%. Use that to help my community,
No, the microphone's a real thing. And when you get behind the microphone, you better be listening because I got something to say. So how long have you been doing drag in Portland?
I've only been doing drag for about 2.5 years. I say only. I'm just like, look how impressive it is.
Yes.
It's like, I've been doing drag in Portland for about 2.5 years, which I consider like the start of it being around the time like after the show, when I like officially was like, no, I'm going to do drag outside of the context of like being in a rehearsed show where I was getting, like I was doing it explicitly for that purpose. Totally. So about 2.5 years, and I'm coming up on about 2 years of it being full time. Like amazing. A full time, like this is like what I do for my job.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Absolutely amazing. What was that like moment though when you realized you're like, this is it?
When I needed a job.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, right. Like, I mean, I've been a performer all of my life, and I worked in theater. Like theater was a way to supplement my income for a good portion of it. I worked as an admin for like Portland Center Stage, Bag and Baggage, the Portland Gay Men's Chorus. And I used performing as a means to like help supplement additional income so that I could, work. Right. So I've been a performer my whole life. And the moment that I did drag and realized that like I loved it and people were coming to shows and that, I was like, I could do this. And I've always actually genuinely wanted to, be a full-time performer, and doing it as like an actor is hard. There's a lot of risk reward. Like you have to just, sometimes you're going to make it, you're going to not, right? I feel like the dream was always like, I'm going to move to New York and I'm going to be on Broadway, right? Yeah. And like, that's not a dream, but like at the same time, I was like, oh, but this is a whole new sort of offshoot of like what performance can be. And like, maybe like we'll discuss later, like drag originated in theater and like using that as my background, I was like, I feel like I have a capacity to make something here.
Absolutely. So young Quesa, we're talking like
fresh cheese,
like 5, 6, 7, 8-year-old. Like, did you know like you wanted to perform?
Oh, like as a child?
Oh, or was it a later in life thing?
When I was a kid, I definitely like loved attention and things like that. I saw my first play when I was 10. My family, we used to live in California. We moved to Hawaii. Okay. And I saw my first my first musical ever as a child was Little Shop of Horrors. Love that show. Yeah, it was Little Shop of Horrors.
That's my favorite gambling machine at the casino.
Right.
I'm just going to go ahead and crawl in here.
Yeah. No, it's okay, Justin. You're so wealthy.
No, it's so funny because that musical has come up on multiple podcasts, and I literally was at the casino the other day, and that's like one of my favorite machines because they play that song the whole entire time.
Yeah, exactly. And like a 8-bit crushed, Yeah.
Anyways.
I love that musical. I love musicals in general, but that like musical has showed up a lot in my life. I was the first musical I saw when I lived in San Diego. It was the first one I saw. Terrified the shit out of me, right? I mean, like, because at the end of Act 1, spoilers, he, like, the guy kills someone and he feeds it to the plant. And as, like, my, 8-year-old brain, I was just like, they actually murdered a man and kill and put him inside of a plant on stage. They did. Yeah. I'm going to find out who you are. Terrified me. But then when we moved to Hawaii, I lived in a much more rural area. We didn't have like big theaters to go to, and we didn't live in the big city anymore. And so I went to a community theater, and the first show I saw was Romeo and Juliet, which does end up being like my favorite Shakespeare play. And then they also did Little Shop of Horrors. And I know.
Like
and
PTSD.
I was like, and now that I was like 11, I was like, oh, this musical doesn't scare me anymore. And also as a community theater, it was a lot cheaper. The body parts looked like, things you'd buy from Spirit Halloween. And
produced by Spirit Halloween.
Yeah, sponsored by Spirit Halloween. And I saw that and I told my dad, I was like, I want to do that. How do I do that?
Right.
And he found out like you could go audition. The first show I was ever in was A Christmas Carol. And I was Bob Cratchit.
Oh.
I know. A big role.
Yes.
And from there, I just kept doing shows, kept doing musicals. I told my dad I wanted to go to school for theater. He was not happy about that.
No.
But he relented and he let me do it. Good. And I came here to Oregon for school, studied theater, loved musicals, did vocal training, and then after I graduated, just worked in theater. I was in a touring outdoor Shakespeare troupe for a while. I did musicals. I've done musicals here locally, in the Lort theaters, regionally. I actually performed in England before, believe it or not. I know.
England.
Yeah, don't worry. We don't have to talk about that. Just look up Quesa D'Mondays /OnlyFans, and you can find out where I performed.
OnlyFans. Make sure you subscribe to her OnlyFans.
Yeah,
you'll be able to find that.
Give a shout out to OnlyFans.
OnlyFans. What would your best friends from childhood say about you today?
That's actually, I recently reconnected with a childhood best friend.
I love that.
And I can tell you exactly what they said. They said, I am so happy that we don't have that third guy who's a huge Trump supporter. We had a trio of friends, and one of them, I turned out to be a drag queen and non-binary, and they turned out to be trans, and he turned out to be like a cocaine head, like Trump supporter. So I'm just all like, man, I'm so glad we don't have that guy. But the drag queen and the trans friend, we can hang out. We're good. We're chill. Yeah.
Hey, we're here to hang out.
No, I would say that they're very proud of me. I mean,
amazing.
My parents are very proud of me. I'm very, very lucky to have like a very supportive family. But like, don't get me wrong. Like there's stuff that still exists in my own life. 100%. Right?
Like I think that's in most anybody's life. I've struggled as a queer kid as well. I came out when I was 16, and it's always been up and hill. It's like we're good for a minute, then we're down, and then we're up, and we're down. And I think that's just kind of the trajectory, unfortunately, of the queer community with their parents sometimes.
It's a lot of like you I feel like when people say, oh, I came out when I was 16, or I came out when I was 20 or 21, 20 or 21, and I feel like you come out a lot throughout your life. You come out to different people. Absolutely. You're not always necessarily sure. You're not always necessarily sure like who it's safe to talk about that with, or what you want to do.
Right.
And so I think it's always a process. It's always a reevaluation, reassessment.
100%.
So, and it's all very fluid, right? Like maybe you come out as gay and then you're like, oh, maybe I'm actually like, my gender expression is changing or whatever. So like it's just a constant evolution.
It's an evolution. And I think that it's ever changing. And I appreciate the community that Portland has and has always embraced my ever changing. And I know that a lot of people have gone through different stages in life. So I definitely agree. Did you ever hit a point where fear, shame, or outside pressure almost stopped you from fully expressing yourself creatively?
Yeah. Actually, a couple times. I had a relationship. So when I started doing Quesa, I was in a relationship with this person, and they were very supportive of like me wanting to do drag, right? It wasn't like an internalized homophobia thing. Like it was great.
Yeah.
But sometimes like over time you just kind of realize like, this person is not a bad person, but they're not the person for me. Right. And it was kind of one of those things where I was not going to admit it because like, I don't ever want to be the person to break up with somebody because it feels like, you know, I don't want to put myself in a position to like be alone again and have to do things all over on my own again.
Yeah.
But I kind of was realizing I was like, I'm with the wrong person. But it did blindside me when he decided to bring up the idea of breaking up, and I like begrudgingly agreed with him. But I was sort of in a really bad place. This was about a year ago, actually. I was not in a great place. I was like super maxed out on my credit card debt.
Yeah.
I had a bunch of unpaid parking tickets, which are paid now. The city of Portland, don't come at me. I had a bunch of insecurity and doubt about like how I was going to do. I was about 8 months into like trying to make Quesa a full-time thing.
Yeah.
And it was just hard. I kept hitting walls. I kept like it just wasn't working out. And I was doing my best to also like be in this relationship that of a person who, quite frankly, I'm sure despite their best efforts, just could not support me in the way that I needed to.
Absolutely.
We went to, I'll talk about this. I don't mention any names, and they're not gonna listen to this podcast. We went to New York. It was one of the things that we loved doing in our relationship. We would go to New York and see Broadway shows. And as I was doing Quesa, I was like, oh, I want to do a show. I want to do a drag gig in New York.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
It was like, that was a big deal for me. I was just all like, you know, I would love to perform in New York, even just to like say it. It would be so exciting and incredible for me.
Totally.
And I booked something. I got through a friend of a friend. I booked, you know, it was like in a little dingy dive bar, right? Like it was like, that's what drag is. Like you're just performing out of, you know, found spaces and whatever.
But it was performing in New York.
But I was in Brooklyn.
Yes.
I was in New York doing drag and singing in New York and impressing people. It was very exciting for me, right? Especially after I had like lost my love for performing and then found it again with drag. It was like, this was a very important thing for me.
Absolutely.
And I asked him, we went to New York together. This was like last April, not this last April, but 2025. And I was like, oh my gosh, let's go to New York together. We're going to go on another trip. And he asked me if I wanted to come with him. I was like, yes, we can go see shows. And I was like, maybe I can book something. And I did book something. And then I asked him like, do you want to come see my show? Do you want to come see my show in New York? And he was just like, oh, probably not.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That really hurt. That really cut like a knife. I mean, you know, like he didn't come to everything. Like he didn't need to.
Mm-hmm.
But this was like the one thing he needed to come to, and he didn't. And I tricked myself into believing that like, it's okay. We don't have to do everything together, right? Like, that's fine. This is how couples work. Like we love being independent people. It's fine. I kind of tricked myself into that. And like when I told my friends who live in New York, who are also like actors and performers, they were like, that's bullshit.
Yeah.
That's bullshit that he's not there.
100%.
And he went to go see like a Sondheim Broadway review. Love Sondheim. Love me some Sondheim.
Sure.
Like, you know, if I had the opportunity to go see, you know, Bernadette Peters in one of her last onstage roles ever, I would absolutely do it as well. But also, you know, like,
It hurts.
It hurt. It was very painful.
It hurts.
And I tricked myself into believing that I was okay with it. And I wasn't okay with it. So then when he broke up with me, like a week after that trip, I was like, so you're going to do that and then do this?
Asshole.
Yeah. You know what? He is what he is. He's the wrong person for me.
Absolutely.
I also have him blocked on all social media accounts. So like, you know, I can sit here and admit that like it just wasn't going to work out between us, but also you're not allowed to look at my life anymore.
Oh my God, I'm sorry. That's
it's okay.
terrible.
And from that, I genuinely like was in such a state that I was like, I would give up on drag just to be with that person again because I felt so lonely and I felt so like drag was the thing that pulled it apart. But it really was like a process I needed to like, I told all my friends, I was like, should I quit drag? Like, I feel like I should quit drag. I even had a conversation with my ex and I was like, listen, I would stop doing this if it meant that like we could still be together.
Right.
And that was like a like looking back on it now, I'm like, that's horrifying. I would have given up my career for like a second time, right? To be with somebody 100%. Who wasn't right for me.
I think I had a picture of me and my husband kissing or something, and I had multiple people unfollow me, and then I got a message from an aunt that was like, yeah, your cousin can't follow you anymore because you guys were kissing online. And I was like, okay, bye. Like, I mean, it's just what it is. Like,
my God.
It's so crazy, the family dynamics. Like, I love my family to death, but I will never understand where they just can't fucking just show up sometimes. It's just like, it doesn't need to be that big of a thing. It doesn't.
Frankly, I don't even need you to like it.
Right.
Like, I don't even need you to like it. Like, just show up to the thing. And if you still hate every moment of being there, at least you found showed up
Exactly.
and
Just
showed your true colors of who you are.
Exactly.
Like,
no,
I-
100%.
That's
No,
crazy.
I get it. It's so I definitely can relate to that, and I appreciate you sharing that story because I definitely sometimes in obviously being a little bit more in the public light with things, but also having a podcast, like I don't always like to talk about that type of stuff, but it's a good moment for me to be a little bit more vulnerable because it's the truth of it. Like, and I'm here to talk about it, and the shit sucks, and it's just what it is.
I think it's something where it's like as drag queens, it's my job to like entertain, bring joy, do all that stuff. But like at the end of the day, I'm a person. And
Absolutely.
I have my own traumas, and
Absolutely.
like my traumas are what make me like uproaringly hilarious, and and I'm happy to talk about them, right? Because I feel like other people relate to it as well.
No, and 100%, and that's what I the whole premise behind Slightly Unhinged was for it to be a place for anybody that sits in the seat to be able to just share their truth and be able to educate and be able to share their stories and be able to just, you never know who's listening. Yeah. And that might be the person that's listening that needed that, oh my God, moment of like, my whatever, and here we go. You know, like we got this.
Yeah, it's something. You get that universal feeling of like,
absolutely,
you're not alone, right? Yeah. Like we all have similar experiences like this.
Absolutely, 100%.
Can we move on to something else though, so I don't cry? So I don't cry.
Yeah, I know. I was sitting over here.
I have a whole bag of traumas I could bring out.
Like, are we gonna unpack? I can unpack my whole trauma life story in this episode.
Can we get Justin some water?
Right. Here we go. But let's talk about your social media though.
Please,
because,
speaking of joy.
Your Instagram reels absolutely destroy me. The instrumental lip sync series, genius.
Oh my God.
Tell me about it.
So I do a series. I started doing the series back in February.
Yeah.
I can't imagine that I am the first one to have come up with it, but I did do it.
Sure.
And like I did do it, and like I have now like turned it into something else.
Yeah.
I started off doing this instrumental lip sync series where like the caption is like, it's season, 560 of Drag Race and they've run out of songs. And it's me like lip syncing to bird noises or a forklift backing up.
Every time I watch it.
My personal favorite one is the microwave, where I lip sync to a microwave. And if you watch that one, it's me like doing the beeps, and then like once the microwave like radiation sound goes, I just kind of put my hand up in the air and I'm standing on a turntable, and my friend is like slowly moving it so it looks like I'm like a piece of like, it looks like I'm a Stouffer's in the microwave. It's so funny.
It's so good.
And it's also evolved into doing like video game soundtracks. So and I love video game, big video gamer.
Love that.
And now I lip sync to like video game soundtracks and like beat boops and 8-bit stuff, and so that's like my bread and butter. It's like it cranks out good content, cranks out viral content, and I frankly enjoy doing them. And I do a couple like actual numbers, like when I perform, I actually do a couple of like instrumental lip syncs, and people live for it.
I love that. So what was the idea behind it? Where did it come from?
So like genuinely, I'm not a good lip syncer. I don't think personally I'm a very good lip syncer. I'm a live vocalist. Like I sing live, and I think that lip syncing is genuinely like a skill that takes a lot of work to make look really good. And I frankly I'm putting in the effort and I'm getting better at it, but I just don't think I was always that good of a lip syncer. So I'm like, I don't want to have to try to like actually articulate words in a song. I'm just going to do beep boops, right?
I love that.
I'm going to do beep boops, right?
I could never lip sync. Don't ever put me on a lip sync. I could never do it.
I mean, if you can do karaoke, you can lip sync.
I can karaoke all day long, but I would have to live sing. I couldn't do a lip sync battle because I would be screaming.
Well, that's the thing is that like, like it comes from like ballroom culture where, like it's to help create the fantasy, right? You put on a pop artist and you do incredible dance moves and ask any Broadway star. It's impossible to sing and dance like immensely well both at the same time. I mean, Broadway stars can do it, but but like you opt for lip syncing so that you can do incredible dance moves and incredible physicality. And I just personally never thought that I was very good at lip syncing, and I was, I loved the campness of just all like, I'm going to lip sync to a bird noise and just have it be like a fun thing, or lip sync to a forklift, but continue to like look very cunty, like look very cunty in the video. It's like I'm actually like lip syncing to, like a lip sync for my life. And it's like, beep, beep.
Oh my God.
And so it was fun. And like the first one was like did pretty well, and then the one that went like super mega viral was the one where I lip synced to bird songs. That one like drag race queens loved it. Michelle Visage commented on it and was just all like kind of eat, or kind of, she said she kind of lives for me, and I'm just all like, I live. Thank you so much, Michelle. Love it. And like a lot of like that one got a lot of traction, and I had quite a few videos go semi-viral or pretty viral prior to that. But that series was really, really fun to create, and it was just like, as someone who loves growing their social media account, loves gaining new followers, like it just was like a guaranteed hit every single time. I was just like, I'm gonna do a new one. I'm gonna take requests. I'm gonna like, what do people want to hear? What do people want to see? And like I would just film more and more and more, and I just kept doing it.
I love that.
Yeah, it was fun.
Speaking of Drag Race, you ever want to be on Drag Race?
Yeah. Sure. Why not? I mean, I think that I enjoy Drag Race, and I think that I would do well in that environment. Full disclosure, there's a lot of skills I still need to learn in order to feel like I could do very well on Drag Race. I don't want to go on Drag Race and be like, Flop Tropica, right? That's not like my intention. But I also, when I started doing my drag, I always knew that I wanted to, if I was going to go to Drag Race, I wanted to build a community around me so that when I went and when I came home, whether or not that was I won or I got very far or I didn't do very well at all, I would have a community here to fall back on, and I would still like have a career and have a job. And I wanted that security. So like I'm still building that, and I think, I'll audition for Drag Race. It sounds like a lot of fun. I feel like I would have a good time doing that show. But I feel like every queen gets asked if they want to do Drag Race. Is like, you want to do Drag Race? And I'm just like, yes.
Yeah, I think, no, I think that it's a pretty common question. I mean, I think everybody's had a little bit of a different answer. There's some that are like, no. And then there's some that are like, I think it would be fun. But I agree with having that, because I feel like anybody that goes into a scene of that public eye needs to have that community space to come back to.
Yes, right.
Because if you don't have the community space to come back to, then you're like, oh, okay, now what?
There's a lot of queens who like go on the show to start their careers, right? And that's, I mean, make your bag, right? Make your coin, all that good stuff. Right. But it's one of these things where like they kind of hope that Drag Race launches their careers, and they go on and they do maybe fine or poorly even, and then they disappear into obscurity, or like it's just harder for them, like I think that Drag Race, I have not been watching since season 1, but I know that like Drag Race used to be combined of queens who were like well known in their communities and went on Drag Race as like an even bigger echelon in which to do their art and make their stuff. And now that we're in season 560 or whatever,
I don't even know what it is
according to my
videos.
Now that we're in season, it's about to be season 19, and All Stars and all these like spin-offs and stuff like that, like they're, we are gaining a lot of like new queens, like people who have been doing drag for like less than 2 years, less than however long. And so it's one of these things where I would like to try my shot at it. And genuinely, I think that I could get, I think I have a good personality for TV.
I think you would do very well.
Yeah, and I think that RuPaul would love to say my name. Love to say my name.
I already can see him cracking up. So
I imagine that like they would say my name and we'd be like 3 episodes in and they'd be like, Quesa D'Mondays. And like right, like he'd find it very funny. Yeah, like he'd finally get it, and then the rest of America would get it. It'd be very good.
It'd be episode 4.
It would be episode 4. There was a queen on there. I don't remember what season. Her name is A Mandatory Meeting.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know her?
Yeah, Mandatory Meeting.
You get that. You get that pun, right?
I get it.
I got it immediately.
But
then like Selena S. Titties is just like, I
Oh.
get it. Or I don't know if it was Selena. Hi, Selena. I love you.
I remember it was someone, and it was like
they like
it
realized
was like
in the
3
moment
or 4
what her name
episodes,
was.
and it was like, oh,
Right.
that's what your name
Now
means.
you're never gonna forget me.
Right?
You're never gonna forget me.
If Quesa had a collab with someone, who would that be? Like, who's your collab? Like, if you could get on stage with someone and do a collab, who would it be with?
To be very honest with you, I'm making a bid to Susie Toot.
All right.
Susie Toot is coming to Portland.
Love
She's doing a
Susie
tour.
Toot. Yes.
She's I love her drag, love who she is. She's a theater girly just like me, and she's just as delusional, and I just love her. And she's touring here, and I would love to open for her.
That's amazing.
I've been trying to campaign. She actually, get this, I just recently put up a video. I had another reel go semi-viral. I did a show called Theater Camp, and it was like a campy theater drag show. So like musical theater, like for theater kids, by theater kids. And I did a number. Are you familiar with the musical Waitress? Yeah. Do you know the song "She Used to Be Mine"?
Oh yeah,
right.
Yeah.
She used to be mine, right?
Yeah.
Except she sings it a lot better. But like, I decided to do this number where I sing it, but it was a lip sync, but I only sing the words that are kind of dirty.
Okay.
So like, like it'll just be like, complete silent or like complete just instrumental. And then I'll say like, but messy, but
100%.
Beautiful pie,
Yes.
right? Like, and so it was really funny. It was like a slow burn of a number, but it was good. And Susie Toot liked it.
Yeah.
And I was like,
there's your end. There's your end.
Susie, let me open for you.
Did you go to her? Did you go to the Butt
Toot King?
Yeah.
I didn't actually.
Okay.
I was unavailable when she was here, but I loved her on her season.
She was so good.
I love all the theater girlies.
Yeah.
Like Susie Toot, Plasma, Jinx Monsoon. Like, I'm big fans of all of them. And
100%.
so like any opportunity to get to do like a musical theater moment with any of those divas would be so fun.
Absolutely.
But also like I would love to collaborate with like other content creators online. There are people who do like gaming content. I'm like a big like video game like nerd person.
Yeah.
I would love to. There's this person like Ollie Cosplays. Like they do super fun, cute like they use audio from Drag Race, and they're just like, here's how the Pokemon would behave if they were on Drag Race. And I'm like, I would love to just do something
That'd
with
be
you.
amazing.
I'd love to take you out for coffee and get married.
Get married. And get married. Don't mind me. I'm just going to get married too.
Yeah, right.
No, that's amazing. I will definitely make sure that we do a fun reel with Susie Toots, and we'll tag her, and let's see if we can't start a campaign and get you opening for that. And then when you do get to open, just send me the invite so I can come
You
too.
are absolutely going to be there. Listen, Susie, I'll just say, like your name is Toot, like a little, right? And what gives you that? Cheese.
Yes.
A little bit of lactose.
There it is. There it is. Oh my God. That's amazing. Oh my God. It was a great, they had a great show, and I actually got to meet all of them. We did their VIP thing.
Oh my gosh.
I got to meet Susie and Corey and
Lydia.
Yeah. And it was such a fun.
Oh my God. That's so incredible.
I have a photo of us. It was because it was Halloween. So it was a Halloween episode. So my husband was dressed as this blue sea monkey, and so he had done, I know he had done this whole like painted face of blue, and I'm like in my hat and t-shirt, and
right?
Because that's just I don't dress up for the Halloween, and we go up, and Corey King goes, "What the fuck are you?"
That's crazy for her to say that.
Yeah,
when she goes on camera looking the way that she does. One of my favorite Corey King like little like things that sticks in my brain. She's on a live stream and she's dressed up as like cunty Shrek, and her makeup looks awful and on purpose, right? And she's like you hear in the background, it's I'm a Believer from Shrek, and she's just like looking at the camera, and she's like, yes, my pussy's green. And then it's just silence and the clip ends. Right? I've used that audio before for when I dressed up as Larry the Cucumber. So amazing. Like, from VeggieTales, yes. So like just letting everyone know, like, you're not getting this all the time. You're getting like some vile, absolutely vile. And Corey would love to open for you too.
Yes.
Would love to open for Butt Toot King. Just saying. Let
everybody.
Get me in there.
Yes. All right. We'll definitely make sure we tag them in there. But one of the things that I absolutely love about you and getting to know you is your community and activism in Portland. And I saw you work with Pride in Numbers recently.
Yes.
And I love for you to talk more about that organization and your involvement.
Absolutely. So it's a relatively new collaboration. Pride in Numbers is a Two-Spirit and LGBTQ focused survey project that is dedicated to working with Oregonians, queer Oregonians, and ostensibly the more rural parts of Oregon where you're not living in like a liberal mecca like Portland or even like Eugene or anything like that. People who might be a little bit more tentative or afraid to express themselves, lives authentically, to share their art, to share their stories, right? And so it's a survey project that basically asks, you know, like who you are, what your story is. You can submit your art for Pride in Numbers to share. They're like working on events and things like that. And they reached out to me because they know that I had a large following and that I'm locally based here in Portland, Portland, Oregon. And just for me to like make some videos and make some reels of me talking about like what it's like to, you know, to live as your authentic self and what I use my drag for and what I believe in. And hopefully that encourages people who are maybe afraid to come out or afraid to tell their story, that those stories are necessary, right? Because like I believe very firmly that like my story even is very necessary to tell, and I love getting to tell it now more than ever. Now that I'm like out and proud and allowed to be who I am.
Absolutely.
And yeah, it's still very scary. I still walk out on the streets looking like a drag queen, and you know, even just as I was like coming in here for this podcast, I was out on the street hanging out here with my little rose dress with another dress on, and someone walks by and they like stare at me and I like give them a smile. I'm like,
hi.
And they just kept like looking at me and they like had no idea how to respond. Now, I don't know what was going through their head, right? It was like, you know, maybe they were just completely flabbergasted or whatever, but like it was a non-response. It was kind of scary. I was like in that moment, I'm like, am I gonna have to fight you? Like, and I get it. It's scary. I mean, I've been called slurs all the time. I get called slurs online, in person, and you just kind of learn how to let those things roll off your back and not live in fear anymore. I will never live in fear ever again in my entire life, and I want to encourage other people to never do that.
100%.
Yeah.
You said something that really resonated with me. Drag is not just a performance; it's a community, culture, and power. What does that actually mean to you?
Well, I mean, I am a drag performer, right? I do numbers. I love bringing joy. I think drag, like the point of drag is to bring joy, whether or not that's to you personally through your own gender expression and living authentically, or genuinely to entertain people as it does for many people on RuPaul's Drag Race and all these touring shows and whatnot. Your local drag queens, support local drag queens.
Yes, support local.
And but at the same time, like, drag has always been a powerful political tool and a tool of protest, right? If you look back in the history of people who have come before us, people did drag because they wanted to live authentically and then used drag as a means and medium to fight for our rights, right? You had drag queens on the front lines fighting in Stonewall, right? And Marsha P. Johnson, Sylvia Rivera, Stormy DeLaurier. Like, you had people, those were drag queens on the front line fighting for those rights, black, brown, and trans people who did drag, right? And it sucks because, like, in history, we've also seen the way that these people then traditionally get pushed off to the side when we talk about the history of like how queer people got their rights. Like, gay marriage is a relatively new invention existing in the 21st century. And the only reason we're able to really have those things is, yes, because of the efforts of folks like Harvey Milk and Pete Buttigieg and all that stuff. But like, we wouldn't have the genesis of those things without drag performers and without drag as a medium to give us those things, to have fought for those things. And even going further back, we have William Dorsey Swann, who was one of the first drag activists in America existing at the beginning of the 20th century, was a formerly enslaved man who threw drag balls in, I believe it was Washington, D.C.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure,
and was arrested for keeping disorderly houses, which is how the police like said, you know, like, you're gay, but we can't arrest you for being gay.
Absolutely,
and like burned, like, you know, like threw his stuff away and burned his house down. And he actively fought. Like, there's a quote saying where William Dorsey Swann was grabbed by the police and he rips his hand away and he says, "You ain't no gentleman," right? And then after he was arrested and all of his colleagues were arrested, wrote a plea for a pardon to Grover Cleveland, the president at the time, which was the first ever incident of a queer person writing to a president for a pardon to demand their rights, right? And like, that was a black, formerly enslaved drag queen, right? And if it, you know, of course it was going to be people who identify with that who are going to be the first ones to stand up and say, this is enough, right?
Absolutely.
And I think that drag is intended to be a powerful tool. When you see a drag queen walking down the street, it stops everything. It stops everything dead in its tracks, and
100%.
it disrupts society. It is meant to be a disruption, and that is an important key part of revolution, is like disrupting the norm, you know?
I 100% agree. And there's so much wrong in this world, and I just appreciate every drag queen, and I appreciate you just giving a little light to that. I don't do drag, and you can tell. I know. You won't see me in drag. I mean, everybody's been telling me you should. Oh, you know, we always joke like, I'm gonna do it one time. I'll put it, you know, whatever. But no, like, it's so great to hear from the other side, because I can advocate all day long, but I'm not the one in the shoe. I'm not the one in the heels every day. Well, you know what I say this at a lot of my events and stuff like that. I do think that like drag in its sort of like traditional form is like big outfits, costumes, and heels, and it actually has like a definition. Sure.
Drag is the theatrical exaggeration of gender expression via things like large outfits, makeup, wigs, and things like that. But I also think that if you kind of like mix definitions up, right? So there's a very famous quote said by RuPaul: "We are all born naked, and the rest is drag."
I love that.
And it's RuPaul says it all the time on their show. Sure. However, RuPaul has openly admitted that quote comes from a drag queen in New York that he knew, Lakeisha Lucky, and which is "We're all born naked, and the rest is drag." And then there is also a quote from Shakespeare, which is from As You Like It, where he says, "All the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players," right? And it makes me believe that we are always performing, right? We're always sort of in our own way, like performing and being the people that we are. And I believe that we perform our gender expressions as well, right? The way that you behave in your gender is a way that you are thoughtfully thinking about how you wanted to present it to the world, right? So like for you, right, you walked out of the house today wearing a white polo shirt and these like what are these, like slate gray khakis, and these beautiful Adidas shoes.
Thank you.
And this hat that says "Spread love, not trash," but it is camo, right? And you thought in your head, all of these things combined is the way that I want to walk out of the house and express myself in my gender, and function in society. And although it's not necessarily like required by other people, the least that you could expect other people to do is accept you in your gender expression.
Absolutely.
And I do the same thing, right? I hadn't met you prior to this, but I decided to come here in a full beat, you know, and put nails on in this chair here, and like have your assistant zip me up into a dress, you know, like having never met any of these people before. And and it's scary to do that. It's very scary to do that. And the very least that I could hope is that, you know, you would accept me for who I am. And obviously you do.
Absolutely.
You know, and that's why I think like we are all doing drag all the time.
I love that.
I believe that you're doing drag right now. I'm doing drag. We are living in our authentic gender expressions all the time, whether they be like hugely exaggerated or not, right?
Amen.
And I think that is just something that like unites us all a little bit more as we think about it, right?
Oh my gosh, like that's just like the whole entire production team is clapping on that one. That legit, I agree, and I thank you. Thank you.
I'm happy.
I mean, there it is. I mean, that's just like, all right, just wrap it up. Let's go. No. We got this. So Pride's coming up.
Yeah.
People are always asking how they can genuinely support the LGBTQI plus spaces and artists. What's your advice you got to give for Pride?
So Pride is and always has been something that we have to fight for.
Yeah.
Right. Pride 100%. was never given to us.
Right.
It has never been a given.
Yeah.
And I think that as we sort of, you know, very honestly, I feel like as we kind of continue to move through life, we get a little more disorganized about like just knowing that like we're going to go to the waterfront and we're going to go, you know, Absolute Vodka is going to be the sponsor and we're going to get a bunch of free corporate merch from, you know, On Point and you know, and it is what it is, right? Like, I mean, I would much rather have people faking their support for gay people rather than being outright homophobic, right? But at the same time, it's one of these things where like, I think that you always should be in consideration of how you show up in every space, in every place, not just during Pride Month, in every place that you're in. It's a part of our history. It's a part of the constant reassessment of that is. And sometimes you're going to fight within your own community, right?
Oh, 100%.
You're going to fight with other people who are fighting towards the same goal as you. Yeah. And I think what's important to know is, and I say this, like, and I'm saying this to you, Portland drag community, right? Like we have so much that we argue over, and I know that not everyone likes me, right? And I'm not even here to be the most likable person in the room. I mean, I just think that there is so much more commonality that we have that places us in a position to really lose sight of what is important about Pride, and that is supporting each other and supporting the work that we've all put in to live our most authentic selves and love who we want to love and be who we want to be and should be. And we are always going to constantly have to fight for that and be reassessing where we're at and what we're supposed to be doing. And I think that's why understanding more about queer history, drag history, who we are is always important. It's why
Absolutely.
I love talking about teaching. It's why I love talking about drag history. It's why I teach a class on it, you know? Yeah.
No, 100%. And I appreciate that because, you know, that's the thing. Like Portland doesn't even do Pride in June.
Well, right.
But,
like we have July. We have
July
June,
Pride.
June is like Universal Pride Month, and like we still do stuff here. But
we still do stuff. But it's like Pride, our actual celebration in July. But it's not. It doesn't necessarily just need to be month. It needs to be a year. It's a yearly. It's an every single day celebration.
I'm gay 24/7,
right?
baby.
Like I'm not only gay in July. Like
right. I'm super gay in July.
I'm super
but
gay
like,
in July.
I'm regular gay the rest of the year.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm slightly gay.
I'm slightly gay.
The rest of the year, but I'm fully
August
gay.
through June, I have a slight gay, but in July, I'm like, "Hi, Queens, I'm gay."
That was the second time he said it. He said it was the second time he said yes, Queen. You're getting better. You're getting so much better. I'm proud of you.
I'm learning. I'm learning. So talking about like online culture and haters, and my husband was on the podcast. His episode's dropping this week, and which will be a few weeks after you, but prior to yours. But either which way, we had this whole conversation about haters, and his meme has gone a little viral. Of he's just like, "Hi haters," like, you know, his whole thing is like, fuck the haters. But have you had to deal with online hate and bullying in the upbringing of Quesa?
I mean, yeah, of course, right? Like I'm a faggot, baby,
Right?
right? Like people do not like me, you
Right?
know, for one reason or another. And sometimes that, you know, the call is coming from inside the house, right? I've definitely been bullied by people who, you know, like, you know, I have thousands of comments over hundreds of videos, right? And some of them are genuinely like people wanting to hurt me, right? Or people wanting to hurt my feelings, right? Especially when I make particularly political content. I've done a few videos that are like, you know, talking about like drag queens reading to kids, and you know how you know, the actual predators are like politicians and CEOs. Shout out to the Epstein files. And there are going to be, and I've also done one about J.K. Rowling and how I think that she's like a terrible person. She supports anti-trans, like active anti-trans legislation, and how I think that if you support Harry Potter like contemporarily, it's like, what are you doing, right? And, you know, whether or not you want to agree with me on that opinion, right, that's my opinion. And that's what I believe in.
Everybody's entitled to their opinion.
And there are so many people who go off in the comments and just like go off on me. They're just like, who the fuck are you? Like, you're just some fucking cross-dresser.
Right.
Like, who cares about what you have to say?
Right.
Or, you know, like, I even remember there was a situation, I do a bingo at Midtown Beer Garden here in town, in downtown Portland. And I love doing it there. It's you get such an eclectic mix of people down there, and they're often traveling folks. And so we had a group of young girls who were there for a volleyball tournament here in Portland. They were from Eugene, I think, and they wanted a picture with me. And so we did one at the beginning of the game, and then they had to leave about halfway through to go do volleyball stuff, I assume. They wanted to take a picture with me, and I obliged. I was like, you know, I look gorgeous. They were very happy They were very happy to be there. And then right before they left, the event manager for Midtown Beer Garden was like, oh, let's get a picture with them again. And I was just like, okay, sure. Girls, come over here. Like, we're going to do a picture again, and we're going to put this on the Instagram. Instagram, you know, it's fun to like post pictures of people who come through and see the drag shows.
Sure.
My friend was there, and he noticed that like when I asked to take a picture with that group of girls who were doing volleyball, there was a woman next to him, and she was like, why does the drag queen want to take pictures with kids?
Oh.
And she put her bingo card, she made a big huff about like taking her bingo card, putting it away, and leaving the establishment.
Oh,
and I was just all like,
girl.
like
Bitch.
I was just like, that's just gonna happen. There are people who genuinely think that like drag is explicitly a sexual thing, and that we're out here to predate on kids and make fun of women, and like, I mean, no. Right, like it's crazy to me. And like I do like this stuff just comes up, and online of course it's exacerbated. I don't know any of those people, and like I assume half of them are bots and they're just trying to rage bait and stuff like that.
100%.
But the nice thing, and I will say this about any time there's a hater, is that if somebody says a hateful comment in my videos, I often have a dozen, 24 people who come to my rescue in the replies, and they're just all like, you're a stupid idiot. Here's why you're wrong. Why are you blaming this queen for what that is?
Absolutely.
And what I will say about like what it is about haters is like, you don't have to feel like you have to fight that battle alone.
Yeah.
Right. There are always going to be people who are there to stand up for you, stick up for you, be there to respond. I don't respond to any of those comments. I don't give them satisfaction.
No,
I don't.
Never.
I never go into the flame wars of my own comment section. But if other people want to go in and do that, they're more than welcome to. And it's really encouraging to see that there are so many people who will come to my aid if I was ever like in a stressful situation like that. Yeah.
No, I get it. I mean, I recently had an incident on even our podcast where someone locally wanted to take us down, and I just was like, you know. But it's true though, the power of people that know me and know how I operate, and that's not how I operate, came to my rescue and was like, here we are.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's, you know, it's like, again, hi haters.
Hi haters. How you doing?
That's going to be like our new part of the show. Thank you, Danny, for coming to that with that. But no, it's true. Like, it was literally the most stupidest thing. And it's just like, one of the biggest things for me is like, I never really wanted, and maybe this is me being whatever, like I'm all about like love, laugh, let's hang out. Yes, I have a love, laugh tattoo on my side, you know, live, laugh, laugh, you know, back from the 2006. Yes, I have one on my side, but that's kind of
cool.
like,
I wasn't asking, but thank you.
But you know, I mean, it's just, but that's kind of my thing. Like, I just want to have fun on a podcast. Like, I'm not here to tear anybody down. I'm not here to get into crazy politics, like all of that shit. And it's like, it went so sideways so quickly, and I'm just like, wait, this wasn't a beautiful moment for somebody sitting in my other seat, and you're trying to take me down over something stupid? And it's just like, no, queen, like, you're, no.
Yeah.
Like, no, it's not necessary. And so it's crazy.
It's so exhausting.
It is exhausting.
The amount of effort that people put in to tear other people down.
Right.
Right? Like, I get tired thinking about it.
Yeah.
Right. Like I've had a lot of situations where, you know, people like want me to know that they don't like me.
Yeah.
Right. And boots. Right. Like, good for you. Right. Like, good for you that you like. I honestly love it when people don't like me.
Yeah.
Because I genuinely do believe in the firm belief that like if you have haters out there, or if you have enemies, you know, that you've made without like just like being yourself, right? Then that means you are living authentically, because people are afraid of that. People are scared of that. People hate other people who live authentically because they're jealous. They're jealous of you living your best life and loving what you're doing, and being successful at it, right? You know,
100%.
Sorry.
And it's just like, if that person just took a moment to really actually look at my multiple platforms instead of scrolling through my personal Instagram page to find that one little thing to call me out and ruin a moment for the person sitting in my seat, you know, maybe too many balloons in the world aren't worth it. I don't know. But anyway, but it's all good. Moving on from that.
Bye.
But, you know, bye. Hi haters.
Bye haters.
You know, it is what it is. And I think that we all, no matter what, should shine, fuck 'em, move on, and here we go.
Yeah.
So
I have too much to do. I'm super booked.
Right. I don't got time for it. And
I'm
it's
super
just
busy.
like, I have policies with my team, and it's just like, hey, we're not doing this politics bullshit. We're moving on. Like,
Right.
we ain't doing this. But
Mhm.
so anyways, there it is. Yeah. We addressed it. Moving on.
I love that I got to be the person who gets to address this.
You got
I'm just kind of sitting over here in the corner. I'm like, okay, Justin, sounds like you're getting through some stuff.
We're getting through some trauma on this podcast. No,
Work.
It's been like a little hint in each episode. And so hopefully he's following our podcast and he's going to look at ours and maybe he'll make another comment.
I'm going to say, I'm going to say a name. And if I get it right, you, Taylor. If that's actually your name, you're gonna shit yourself.
Yes, I love it. So I like to play a little game in my podcast.
Okay.
So we do kind of like a rapid fire, fun little game, but this one we're gonna call it titillating or tit deflating.
Titillating or tit deflating.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. The marketing machine I can see it on shirts.
I know, right?
Yeah.
My husband writes most of my episodes, and he and I were going through it, and he's like, we gotta like, because I usually am like, we're just gonna do a rapid fire, and he's like, that's boring. It's time to like start amplifying it a little bit. So, and I have this saying. It's called "Tits on a Mantle." So, "Tits on a Mantle" mean like it's the prize thing to be on the mantle, like what you're gonna showcase. Like that's fucking tits on a mantle.
Absolutely.
Like here it is. So it's kind of the same thing. So it's like titillating, like yes, we got it, or it's tit deflating.
Well,
like, not very cool.
Have you heard of a boot or toot?
Boot or toot?
Yeah.
From the Toot and the Toot?
No, it's a drag race thing.
Okay.
Where like when people come down the runway, I don't know where it comes from, like a podcast or something.
Okay.
Where people like review drag race.
Yeah.
When the queens come down the runway, you say is it a boot or is it a toot?
Okay.
Right.
Yeah. I know what you're talking about.
A boot meaning that you hate it, and a toot being that you love it.
Right.
Right. And so I imagine this is like that.
It's exactly
like that.
It's exactly like that, but we're doing
tits.
titillating or tit deflating.
Yeah. Ooh, I can't wait to figure it out.
Yes, here it is. So
right,
just
hit me with it.
answer
Hit me with it.
whatever you think it is.
All right.
Hockey.
What the fuck is that question?
I gotta keep it real around here.
Here's the thing. Heated rivalry is not about hockey.
It's not about hockey.
It's about gay sex.
Absolutely.
So that's gonna be a deflate for me.
All right, deflate.
Yeah.
She's tit deflating on
Listen,
that one.
it's cold. Well, you're gonna hit a puck, right?
Right.
That's dangerous. Yeah.
Lin-Manuel Miranda.
Oh. Lights up on Washington Heights this is so funny. I was just in New York.
Yeah.
And some lore for you.
Yeah.
I was in New York. The first time I ever went to New York, when I graduated college, my dad took me. One of the first Broadway shows I ever saw was Hamilton.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw Hamilton's Seventh Row Orchestra. Lin-Manuel was original cast.
Yes.
Lin-Manuel was on that stage, and when he's going through his I'm patiently waiting, I'm passionately smashing every expectation, and he's like spitting off of that stage because he's just like so articulate, and I just felt like a little droplet.
You're like, I got it.
So I love being like, Lin-Manuel Miranda, spit on me.
Yes.
Right? You spit on me, Lin.
Titillating
You
for
spit.
you.
So I'm not done.
Oh.
No, I have. Well, I mean, that is the story, but like, I have other things. Like, I did. I opened for a book signing for a book that a friend of mine's, their professor wrote, that was all about Lin's. Like, it was an autobiography about Lin, and so he got like an opportunity to like be really close with Lin, and I got to open for that show, and like I dressed up as like a cunty George Washington. It was really funny. And so like Lin has always like been around there in the background. I think he's a what is it? Inflating? Tit inflating?
Tit inflating. Or titillating.
Titillating.
Sorry.
There
Titillating.
it is. Yeah.
I was like, inflating. I was like, yes. I was going with it. I was like, yeah, tit inflating. Here we go.
Yeah. It's
titillating.
No, Lin-Manuel Miranda is titillating,
All
I
right.
will say.
Love
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
Being afraid of the dark.
I feel like I'm supposed to be immediate with this, but I have to think about it. Tit deflating. Stop being a pussy. Stop being a pussy. There's
Straight
nothing.
men eating ice cream cones.
deflating. They do it wrong.
They do it wrong.
They do it wrong.
They don't use that ice cream cone the right way.
It's just like, you've never sucked a dick before, like, ever in your life. They're over here just like, and I'm just like, no, get the whole shaft. Like, exhausting.
Oh, this one's going to be controversial. J.K. Rowling.
Oh, deflate, baby.
Of course. Well, I should say controversial, but I already knew. I already knew.
I
where
already
you were gonna
talked
go with
about
it.
her.
Yeah, we already
talked about that hag. All right.
All right. We already talked about her.
Deflate.
Fuck her. We're moving on.
Wingardium Leviosa into the trash can.
Goodbye.
Yeah.
Flying first class.
Flying first class. That's a deflate. That's a tip deflate. I'm sorry. I just got off of 2 planes when I traveling to New York, and I was like, I fly coach. You know, I'm not ashamed of that. Like, I am not the wealthiest human being in the world, and like, I like to save a buck. So like, I'll sit and coach, but I have to walk past all of those people in first class while they're looking at me while I'm carrying my duffel bag and my thing, and they like look at you. They look at you, and they're on a computer, and it's just like.
Yeah, they're doing something so important.
I'm making money right now. And what are you doing? Sitting 3 to a row? We're sitting 2 to a row, all right? I'm just like, that's the fucking like capitalistic first like elitist bullshit that I have no time for. And I'm like, none of you have any idea that like I am prettier than you will ever be, right? Yeah. Deflate. First class is a deflate.
Puffer jackets.
Puffer jackets? Yeah. I don't personally own any. I
think I have one.
I don't know. I don't want to yuck anyone. That's a titillating. Yeah, it's fine. I like them. Yeah.
All right. Wearing a thong.
Titillating.
Titillating.
Not comfortable, but it's titillating. Yeah, for sure.
I love it. Ghosts.
Ghosts. Titillating.
Titillating.
Yeah. Ectoplasm me. Yeah. Like, I love ghosts. I love the concept of like someone watching me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Someone who like has unfinished business and they're watching me.
I love that.
Sounds like
have you ever watched I'm sure you've watched like those ghost hunter shows and
I have. They're all so stupid.
They're all
and
so
I love
stupid.
them.
Demi Lovato did her ghost hunting series.
She did a what?
She had there's a whole just Google it. Yeah, she did a whole series with her family about ghost hunting.
Are there any ghosts here?
Yeah.
Right, like I'm doing Ariana Grande, but like it's
no, literally, Demi had a whole ghost series and anyways, she decided she wanted to be a ghost hunter and she went to some mansion and it was a whole thing.
Work. Yeah, she's just like, what's wrong with being confident? What's wrong with being, please apparate? Oh, right. It's like, God, Demi, good for you. Titillating. Ghosts are titillating for sure.
Well, thank you for playing a little titillating and deflating.
Can I say one for you?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Can I say one for you?
Yeah.
Adjusting the clocks in your house that don't automatically update when daylight savings time rolls over.
Them. You know what's funny is I actually think every single one of them is still in the wrong time.
It's still in the wrong time. It's still in the wrong time. And that's exactly what I do. I like that shit. I'm just all like, it says 3 p.m. It's 2 p.m.
Exactly.
Like I can do math. I went to Kumon. Yeah. Like I don't need that.
No, that's so I'm just gonna have to reset it eventually. Goodbye. Yeah. Goodbye. No, I got in what is it? Oh, we got in our so we have a truck and it doesn't
You look like you have a truck.
We do have a truck. We have a Dodge Ram and
oh my God, my dad has a Dodge Ram.
We have a Dodge Ram.
Daddy.
We have a truck. And my normal day-to-day car changes automatically.
Mm-hmm.
But the Ram does not. And I got in the other day and I'm like, oh, it's only 2:00. And Danny's like, honey, it's like 3:30 or 4, and I'm like, oh, she real behind. she missed the last 3 daylight savings.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I don't know, but
the clock in my car I always have set to about 7 or 8 minutes ahead.
Yeah,
because I constantly am running late.
Oh,
and so I'm just I get in the car and I'm just all like, oh fuck.
I think my microwave still says the wrong time too.
I just moved into a new apartment. Like none of those clocks are set right, and I'm like, whatever, it's fine.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, no, totally. I 100% agree. I am not about that. So I know we've talked a little bit about your literature series. I want to touch on that a little bit to give a little bit insight on that. So you have an upcoming lecture series that's coming out, which I think is super cool. And I'm super excited to know more about it. Yeah. So please share on this lecture you got coming up.
Yeah. So I've talked about it a little bit already so far about drag history, but and the reason I know so much as I do, and I have kind of like a prepared like this is what it is about it, is because I teach a lecture series on drag history. It's like a crash course on the history of drag from its beginnings to unrecorded history in indigenous cultures all the way to modern drag race.
I love it.
And it really explores drag in all of its facets, from like where it originated from in theater, in the Greek theater, in theater culture across Europe, as well as in kabuki theater in Japan and various other cultures throughout the Middle East, and how it evolved from religious misogyny and wanting to keep women off the stage because men thought that women were going to cause audiences to become too rowdy, and so women were not allowed on stage for like 1,000 years. And then eventually, when they did allow women, you'd think like there's no reason for drag to exist anymore because but no, like people love dressing up and doing gender expression. And so I wanted, for the reason this came about was I have a collaborator. His name is Michael Mendelson, and he runs a studio called In Studio 255.
Okay.
And Michael and I have known each other for a long time. We knew each other when I did acting exclusively and I wasn't doing drag. I was in a production of a show called Assassins by Fuse Theater Ensemble. It's a Stephen Sondheim musical about, people, U.S. presidents, and like their histories and stuff like that. I performed in it as Quesa, and Michael came to see this show, and afterwards approached me. It's just like, I'm opening a new studio. Like, would you be interested in bringing some kind of class to like teach there? And we thought about it. We were like, what do I want to do? It doesn't feel like, I didn't feel super comfortable with like creating a drag class. Like, I'm going to teach you how to be a drag queen, because drag is so personal and specific. Like, it is a journey that you need to take on your own. And like, I can show you how to do like a cut crease or whatever, but like it's something that like I feel like the whole point of it is to be like done in your home, in your crowded bathroom mirror, and figuring it out as you go.
Sure.
But what felt like a more objective thing that we could teach was the history of drag. And because it's a theatrical studio, Michael is an actor and a director and teaches scene study classes, and there's fight combat, stage combat classes. It felt appropriate to teach this drag history class because drag has its roots in theater, right?
Yeah.
The origin of the term drag was sort of believed to be this acronym that was dressed resembling a girl, right? Which we know to be not really the case, but it's fun to think about.
Yeah.
But really, drag is a term that kind of originated potentially from Shakespeare's era, but also has a history of existing around the turn of the 20th century, where when men would walk across the boards on stage wearing women's gowns, they would drag on the floor. And that's where we think that term sort of comes from. And then there's also the idea of like drag being kind of this like something in culture that kind of slows things down or stops things in their place, right?
Absolutely.
As we've discussed, like when you're a drag queen walks on the street, like everything kind of stops, right? And so I was very interested in wanting to learn about this, and I don't know everything myself, right? I took a theater history class and we learned about, the element of drag. There's like Shakespeare in Love, which has that whole idea of like dressing up as boys and girls when you're a boy or a girl and things like that. But I learned so much in my exploration of drag history that I was like, I could do an entire course of this for 6 weeks, right? And it turned into a lecture series. We offer it as a class like twice a year, where people can learn about the history of drag. And the reason, though, the class itself is called The History of Drag, Performance, Politic, and Protest, because all of those are aspects of what drag is. It is performance. It is something that has to do with politic, and it is a tool that is used in protest. And it really is something that I've enjoyed getting the opportunity to deep dive into, and I'm still learning, right? Like I'm always growing the classes. This is the second time we've done it now. It's going to start in June. It's on June 2nd. It's every Tuesday for 6 weeks starting on June 2nd.
Beautiful.
I believe like early bird registration just ended, but we still have registration going all the way through the beginning of the class. I teach it. I don't teach every single class in drag, but I will for the first one. And honestly, I think it's something that's super important for everyone to take, not just if you're you're a drag performer looking to know more about your history, but if you're a gay person who wants to know more about the history of where your rights came from and how we got to where we are, I think that drag history is queer history, is everyone's history.
I love that. And we'll definitely make sure we link that in the show notes. So anybody that wants to register for that, definitely make sure you check it out.
If this episode is coming out in June, the class will have already started.
That's true.
But they can still follow. They can follow In Studio 255, and we'll be offering the class again later in the year.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll make sure we tag you in all this, and if you don't get into the June episode, you can get into another episode
for sure.
So outside of that, where else can the community find you? What are your gigs? What are your things? What do you got coming up?
Yeah, so I am all over the city. I produce a lot of my own stuff. I do bingos and brunches all over. I have some that I produce, some that I'm a part of. And the best way that you can find out where I am is you can follow me on my Instagram. You can follow me on my social media. My Instagram is at QUESA_D_Mondays.
D period.
Yeah. Listen, why would Instagram let me use all of those punctuation marks if I didn't? Like, what's the point, right? But you can find me on Instagram. I'm also on TikTok, and you can find me doing stuff on there as well. I'm also technically on Facebook, and I do actually have a decent following on Facebook as well.
I love it.
But I always post a calendar of my events, of like where you can find me in the city if you want to come support me. I travel. I've performed in New York. I perform in Seattle. I perform in Tacoma, Olympia. I'm hoping to do even more traveling throughout the year. So like even if you're listening to this podcast and you're not in Oregon, I might be coming to a city near you. Yeah, the cheese is on the move.
The cheese is on the move. Well, it has been such a fun time hanging out with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much,
for coming
Justin,
on the podcast and giving us such a great insight to Quesa and everything that you stand for. And I am so honored that we were able to have this moment and coming into not really knowing each other and now leaving as friends and just now having a better idea of how we operate and all these things. So we'll make sure to link you in everything, and we're going to promo the shit out of you. And I'm so excited to see the next venture for Quesa, and I appreciate you, and thank you for coming on the pod today.
Thank you so much for having me. I really appreciate being here.
Of course, absolutely. And this has been another fun episode of Slightly Unhinged. Make sure you like, follow, subscribe, and we'll have all of Quesa D'Mondays info in the show notes. And again, stay slightly unhinged, and we'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Bye.
Turn it up, don't miss a thing. Welcome to the show.